Welcome back to the Nanook Lodge. Here today we're going to make some chocolate pudding. We've all used the box at the store and made instant pudding, and that's great, or the cooked kind. And it's good, but homemade's even better. So let me show you how to do that today. Let's talk through the ingredients we're going to use. We're going to use milk. I like to use whole milk. Remember, this is homemade chocolate pudding, so you want to use the full fat richness of it. Sure, you could use skim or 1%, but I like to use whole milk when I'm going to go all out and make it from homemade. Sugar, salt, a little bit of cornstarch. This is one of two things in the pudding that are going to help thicken it. Cocoa. Pudding has the benefit of having two different kinds of chocolate in it, so it's going to be really delicious. Instant coffee. Instant coffee, just a touch of it gives you a nice balance to the chocolate and just brings out the richness of the whole thing. Eggs. That's the other part that's going to help thicken the pudding as we go. The second chocolate is mini chocolate chips. I like to use mini chocolate chips. You can use any kind of dark chocolate. You just want to cut it up really small so that it melts really easily. That's why I think mini chocolate chips are super easy to use. A little bit of butter and a little bit of vanilla. Let's see how it goes. We've got all our ingredients here measured and ready to go. We're going to start by heating up the milk with the sugar and just a pinch of salt. Now we're going to take a little bit of the warm milk and add it to the cocoa and cornstarch mixture so that we can dissolve as much of the cornstarch as we can before we add it all back into the pot. You want to just give it a good little stir with your whip and just try and get as much dissolved there and there as you can and make a little paste out of the cornstarch and cocoa, and then you can add it back into the pot. Now we're going to add the eggs. We're going to do what's called tempering the eggs. We take just a little bit of the hot mixture and put it into the cooler eggs so that the eggs don't scramble when you dump them all into the hot pot. You stir them up a little bit, get them all nice and even temperatured in there. It brings the temperature of the eggs up, and then they will have less of a chance of scrambling on you. You can see there's just a little bit of chunks left in the bottom there, and that just means I didn't quite get the cornstarch dissolved far enough. But don't worry about that. We'll strain all that out when we're done. Let those eggs cook in there a little bit. You're going to stir that constantly for a couple of minutes, and it'll all start to get nice and thick for you. It's time to strain our chocolate pudding. Make sure we get out all of the bits of cornstarch that we saw that didn't dissolve earlier, as well as any egg that might have gotten scrambled just a little bit. I use a rubber spatula and just press along the bottom of the sieve so that all of the liquid goes into the bowl and we get as much pudding as we can, so it's nice and smooth. Now that we have our pudding all strained out, we're just going to cover it, put it in the fridge, and let it cool. I always like to take just a little bit of plastic wrap and shake and spray just a little bit of Pam over the top before I put it on, because then that will help the pudding not stick to the top of the stuff. You want to kind of push it down onto the top of the pudding to try and prevent that pudding skin from forming. There. Now it's ready for the fridge. We'll let it chill, and then we'll be ready to add some whipped cream and serve it up for dessert. Thanks for tuning back in to the Nana Lodge to learn your chocolate pudding dessert.